Stay here with me. Let's explore this together. There's a difference between wanting and waiting. Wanting is active, it's desire in motion, it's working towards something while holding it lightly. Waiting is passive, it's desire that's crystallized into expectation, into it has to look like this or it doesn't count. And you've been in waiting mode, sitting, watching, hoping, checking for signs that what you asked for is coming. Here's what happens in waiting: you get rigid. Your idea of how it should arrive becomes fixed. You imagine a specific person, a specific job, a specific outcome, and anything that doesn't match that exact picture gets dismissed. Even when it's actually what you needed, just not how you imagined it. So you keep waiting, keep looking for the thing that matches your mental image, while life is trying to give you what you asked for in a form you didn't anticipate, in a package you weren't expecting, through a door you weren't watching. And you almost miss it because you're so focused on the door you thought it would come through. That's where some of you are right now, standing at the threshold of receiving, but not recognizing it yet. Let's talk about what that looks like. You asked for love, real love, partnership, someone who sees you and stays, someone who doesn't run when things get real, someone who matches your energy, someone who feels like home. You've been asking for that in words or just in the ache of wanting it. And maybe you've been looking for it to show up in a specific person, the ex who left, the one you've been orbiting, the fantasy you built in your head. So when someone new shows interest, you barely notice because they're not the picture, they're not the one you were waiting for. But what if they're the answer that doesn't look like the question? What if the love you asked for is arriving in unfamiliar packaging? Someone you wouldn't normally consider, someone outside your type, someone who doesn't fit your aesthetic or your history or your plan, but who sees you, who's consistent, who shows up without games, who's ready when you're ready. That could be the answer right there, right now, and you're almost missing it because it doesn't match the image you held. Or maybe it's not even romantic. Maybe what you actually need is deeper friendship, chosen family, community that holds you, and you've been so focused on finding the one that you haven't noticed the people already showing up for you, already caring, already present, already offering the love you were asking for, just in plural instead of singular. You asked for stability, financial peace, enough money to stop stressing, to stop choosing between bills, to breathe. You've been asking for that relief, that security, that sense of being okay. And maybe you've been waiting for it to show up as a windfall, lottery, inheritance, sudden opportunity that changes everything overnight. But what if it's showing up as something smaller and steadier? A side gig that's growing, a skill you're developing that people will pay for, a slow increase in income that's so gradual you haven't celebrated it because it's not the dramatic shift you imagined, it's just incremental improvement. But incremental improvement compounds. Small increases become big changes over time. You might be standing in the beginning of financial stability right now, in the not quite there yet, but definitely better than before phase, and dismissing it because it doesn't feel like enough yet, because you're comparing it to the fantasy version instead of the reality you came from. Look back 6 months, a year, 2 years. Are you better off now than then, even slightly? That's the answer arriving, just not all at once. You asked for clarity, direction, purpose, knowing what you're supposed to be doing with your life. You've been asking for that certainty, that sense of, this is it, this is my path. And maybe you've been waiting for a lightning bolt moment, sudden revelation, unmistakable sign, clarity so obvious it erases all doubt. But clarity doesn't usually come like that. It comes through elimination, through trying things and learning what doesn't fit, through small choices that reveal larger patterns, through paying attention to what energizes you versus what drains you. You might have more clarity than you realize. You know what you don't want, that's clarity. You know what feels wrong, that's clarity. You know what makes you come alive and what makes you shut down, that's clarity. You're just waiting for someone to confirm it, to tell you you're right, to give you permission to trust what you already know. And that confirmation, it's not coming from outside. It comes from you choosing to trust your own knowing, even without external validation. The clarity you asked for might be here already. You're just not calling it clarity because it doesn't feel certain enough. Because you think clarity means no doubt, no fear, no questions. But clarity just means you know the next right step, not the whole staircase, just the next step. And you do know that. You're just scared to take it without guarantee it leads somewhere good. You asked for healing from pain, from trauma, from patterns that keep repeating, from the weight you've been carrying. You've been asking to feel lighter, to feel free, to feel like yourself again. Or maybe for the first time, and maybe you've been waiting for healing to feel like a before and after. Like one day you wake up and everything's different. The pain is gone, the triggers don't trigger, the past doesn't haunt. But healing doesn't work like that. It's not an event, it's a process, a long, nonlinear, messy process. And you're in it right now, even if it doesn't feel like progress. You might be more healed than you were. You might be responding differently to things that used to destroy you. You might be setting boundaries you couldn't set before, speaking truth you couldn't speak before, choosing yourself in ways you couldn't before. That's healing, active, ongoing, imperfect healing. But you're dismissing it because you still have bad days, because you still get triggered sometimes, because you still carry some of the old pain. So you think healing hasn't happened, that your prayers weren't answered. But what if healing isn't the absence of pain? What if it's your changed relationship to pain? And what if healing is you surviving what used to break you? And still being soft, still being open, still being here. That's the answered prayer. You're just not recognizing it because you're still waiting for painlessness. And painlessness isn't the goal. Resilience is, capacity is, integration is. You're building that every day, even when it doesn't feel like progress. Hold on. Here's what I need you to understand about answered prayers. They rarely look how you imagined. Because when you asked from who you were then, from what you knew then. And you've grown since then, changed since then, needed different things since then. So the answer that arrives now might not match the question you asked then, but it matches who you are now, what you actually need now. The universe isn't giving you what you wanted, it's giving you what serves your growth. And those aren't always the same thing. Sometimes what you wanted would have kept you small, kept you stuck, kept you dependent on external validation. So instead, you got challenge, got opportunity to develop strength, got situations that forced you to trust yourself. And you're mad about it because that's not what you asked for. But it's what you needed. And somewhere deep down, you know that. You know you're stronger now, more capable, more clear about who you are and what you'll accept. And that's the answered prayer. You becoming more yourself. Not getting the thing, becoming the person who no longer needs the thing to feel whole. That's the real answer. That's the transformation you are actually asking for underneath the surface request. Let me be specific about what receiving actually requires. Openness. You have to be open to answers that don't look like what you pictured, to opportunities that come from unexpected sources, to help that arrives in unfamiliar forms. If you're rigid about how it has to show up, you'll miss it when it does. Recognition. You have to practice seeing what's already here, noticing improvement even when it's small, celebrating progress even when it's slow, acknowledging answered prayers even when they're partial or different than imagined. Because dismissing what's here while waiting for something better creates perpetual lack. Action. You have to meet the answer halfway. Prayers get answered through your participation, through you taking steps, through you showing up. If opportunity arrives and you don't act on it because you're still waiting for certainty, opportunity moves to someone who will. So you have to be willing to move toward what's being offered, even when it feels risky, even when it's not guaranteed. Gratitude. You have to acknowledge what's working, what's improving, what's already answered, even if it's not complete yet. Because gratitude for what is creates space for more to arrive, while complaint about what isn't blocks the flow. And this isn't toxic positivity, it's practical energy management. You don't have to pretend everything's perfect. Just notice what's actually present, what's actually shifted, what's actually better. And let that count. Let that be enough for now, while you continue moving toward more. Look, I can't promise you that everything you want is coming exactly how you wanted. That's not how life works. That's not how growth works. What I can reflect back is that something's shifting, that you're closer than you think, that you're more aligned than you realize, that what you've been building in private is about to become visible. Whether that's relationship, money, clarity, healing, opportunity, or something else entirely. There's momentum, there's movement, there's something breaking through, and your job is to be awake for it, to recognize it, to receive it, not to dismiss it because it doesn't match your expectation, not to reject it because it came differently than you imagined, just to see it, welcome it, work with it, to say, okay, this is what's here. What do I do with this? To engage with reality instead of waiting for fantasy. To participate in your own life instead of watching from the sidelines hoping something magical happens. And magic is real, but it requires your participation. It requires you showing up, choosing, acting, receiving. So, whatever's arriving in your life right now, even if it's small, even if it's strange, even if it's not what you pictured, look at it closely. Ask what it's offering. Consider that it might be the answer. just dressed in clothes you didn't recognize at first glance. Your prayers might be getting answered right now. You're just not calling them answers yet because they don't look like what you imagined.